everybody, this is Jasmine, your League City Pets Alive Volunteer Coordinator, and this is your June volunteer video. So let's just get started because there are a lot of things to cover for June. First off, of course, we have the June calendar. We don't have a ton of offsite adoption events, mostly because during the summertime it gets super hot and we don't like to have the animals out in the heat like that. So of course we have our PetSmart at Clear Lake and League City every Saturday and Sunday. And then we also have our Autumn Leaves, which you visit every fourth Tuesday of the month. And I know that's one of those events that people tend to forget about, but we do need volunteers for that every month. It's very important. It's a great opportunity for us to get out for the community and to get the animals out on a break. So check out Autumn Leaves. And then we do have a couple of other events. So we have Pets, Pints, and Pinot on the patio at Chuck's Sports Bar and Grill. That's going to be this weekend, this Saturday, starting at 4 o'clock. And basically we can bring a dog out there on a adopt me leash, whatever. If you have a foster you would like to bring out there to promote and get adopted, it'll be a great place for that. And they're just going to be hanging out. And the goal to do this is actually every Saturday, so more info on that as we go. But this is something that Chuck's has offered to do and is really excited about it, so check that out. We also, in July, have a couple of important events. Our annual Paws and Claws huge event is going to be in July. I will have some sign-up times for at least the canine and feline starting this week. I'll be putting that up so you can sign up for that. It's a huge adopt-a-thon that we have every year, and we will need volunteers to help with that. And then we also have the Treat Me Right fundraiser. Treat Me Right does these great cookies and things like that. And most of the proceeds go to us. So just kind of look out for those events in July, and we'll be more talking about it as it gets closer. All right, so signing up for shifts. I just want to emphasize how important it is to make sure that everybody is signing up for shifts before they come to the shelter, not just because the staff would like to know when volunteers are coming, but your fellow volunteers would like to know. A lot of the times people are trying to ensure that we're getting dogs out twice a day, that we are getting the cats out twice a day, that we're making sure that things are getting taken care of, and other volunteers may not know that a shift is being covered or not being covered, and they plan accordingly based on who's going to be there. So please make sure that you're signing up so that way we can ensure that we are getting the animals care that they need. If ever for some reason, I know life happens, right? So I know sometimes you have to miss a shift because people get sick and work happens and all that good stuff. Totally understandable. Just email one of the volunteer coordinators and we can remove you from the software. Unfortunately, that's the way the software works. And post on our foster and volunteer Facebook group that you need your shift covered. That way people know, when Bob normally comes every Tuesday morning for play groups and he's not going to be there this Tuesday for whatever reason, it gives somebody else a heads up to know. If not, they're going to just assume Bob's going to take care of it. So go ahead and let your other fellow volunteers know that you're not going to be able to make it so we can get it covered. Okay, so logging hours. It's very important. I know some people do not log hours because they think that they don't need the hours or things like that, but us as a city organization and the nonprofit actually need those hours. It's very important. Not only do we have to report this to the city so that we can justify this program and funding for this program, but also our nonprofit. That's how they can write grants and get money coming in to help these animals. So it's so important that everybody be sure to log their hours, especially by the end of the month. Even better if you do it as you go, so that way it's going. There is a time clock option that you can put on your phone, so if you want to just clock in and clock out on your own, that way you don't have to worry about logging hours later, you can totally do that. And if you, the link to the time clock is on the home page of my volunteer page. You can just make it your own little app or link for that. Or if you have any other questions about finding it or how it works, just let me know. All right, so the new volunteer tests and quizzes that's been popping up. I know there's been a lot of question on why we're doing it, and is it even worth it, and why all this extra work if we need volunteers. And I just wanted to explain to everybody why we're doing it and why it's so important. For one thing, we're trying to improve communication of changes. So I know a lot of things in a program can happen We're always learning new things about how to handle animals, how to work with them better, especially our shelter animals, and how to get them adopted better. So we're always constantly trying to improve and change. And so making these tests yearly kind of helps with that communication on top of changes that, announcing these changes on video and email. So that's one of the reasons for the test. It's also to be consistent. We want everybody consistent when we're handling the animals. We're making sure that we're all doing loose leash walking, because if one person doesn't do it, it kind of ruins the practice that 5 other volunteers have been doing with it. So we want to make sure everybody's being consistent. And just to refresh current volunteers, just to make sure that, if there's something you may have forgotten. I know we've had some volunteers that have been here for 5+ years and they've had, no training since then. And so we want to make sure that everybody's being up to date on new occurring events. If you want to know if you're up to date, or you want to know what you are on your status of qualifications or when they expire, you can go under your profile tab on my volunteer page, click qualifications, and then you'll see all of your qualifications that are there and when they expire. So just be sure to check that out, and if you do have 30 days from the time it expired to go ahead and get updated. And if you're not updated, you will not be able to sign up for shifts, and then we will send you a reminder, and if you don't complete those qualifications, you'll get removed from the software program, because we're just going to assume that you're not being active. So please be sure that you're doing those qualifications. On top of that, don't forget, we have just revamped our adoption event qualifications, so check those out. And just emphasize, if you're a current feline friend or canine companion, you do not have to do the other adoption event qualification. We will, if there is a cat adoptions or dog adoptions going at that event, we actually have a separate sign up. So one's going to be adoption event and one's adoption event canine or adoption event feline. So that way, the point of that is that way we can get more volunteers to help. That way we're broadening our perspective, and we're trying to get as many people to help at adoption events as possible. So just be on the lookout for that. If you're just a current, just strictly adoption event volunteer and you want to continue doing that, just make sure you're getting that qualification done and that quiz done. If you're interested in moving up in levels, especially, I know I've got a lot of questions about moving up from a level 1 to level 2 for dogs, so you can walk blue dogs. I have actually added an unscheduled activity where you can check out the process on doing it. The link is there for the online quiz, and the method to contact a mentor is on there too, so that way you can get your training done. So just be sure that after you've done the amount of hours that you need to train for, that you can do the online quiz, and then you can start signing up for it to become a level 2, and hopefully that makes things easier. Also, monthly we're verifying that everybody's logging their hours, that they're completing their qualifications, that they're signing up on shifts, and we're kind of monitoring all of that monthly. So just kind of be on the lookout if you get an email saying, hey, your quiz is going to be up soon, make sure that you're getting it done. Or, hey, we noticed that you didn't log any hours, please be sure to log your hours. You signed in at the front desk, but you didn't log any hours, that kind of thing. So just be on the lookout for that. All right, so, and I know that there's also a lot of questions on policy and procedures, and I just let everybody know there are consequences for not following the rules, and the rules are in place for a reason. Most of the time they're there for the safety of not only just you, but for the animal. We're trying to make sure the animal stays safe too, and we're trying to make sure that everybody is following the rules, because rules are there for a reason. So there are consequences for not following the rules in a volunteer program, for things like, walking dogs that are not your level. If you're level 1 or green, make sure that you're only walking green dogs. If you're a cat person and you're letting cats out that aren't supposed to be let out, if you're not reading the signs and you're letting sick cats out, there are consequences for that. Sometimes these dogs are on special training protocols. Sometimes these cats are sick and they're contagious, and they could be spread to other ones. So that's why these things are important. That's why signs are there. That's why levels are there. So just be sure that you're understanding that there are reprimands for not following the rules. There's a verbal reprimand, a written, and then suspension, and then then we go from there. So just be sure that you're following these rules and you're being safe, not only for you but for the animals. And of course, if you have any questions on the policies and procedures, or you want an explanation on it, I have an open door policy. You're more than welcome to come talk to me and we can discuss it. Yep. And then I'd like to announce that we have a new volunteer website. Now this is just for current volunteers and fosters if they want to check it out. And it's just there for just an FYI, just info. It'll constantly be updated. There's a blog on there where we do a volunteer spotlight, so check that out. I did the first spotlight on on a team here at the shelter. And they also have just other info like on training videos and manuals and just info, up-to-date stuff that's happening. So that is just for our current volunteers, just to get another form of communication. Hopefully that'll open up some lines there, and a one-shop spot for everybody so that you can get your info. And I think that's it, everybody. So that's it for your LCPA June video. And again, thank you so much. Without you, without volunteers like you, we could not be No Kill. So thanks again, and see y'all next month.